Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Pici helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Pici.
Welcome back to the Sales Edge. This is Joe Pici of Pici & Pici, and we're going to give you an unfair advantage over your competition. You know, this is episode number 11, very important, and this is a continuance of the 8 non-negotiables for business success. Today, we're going to cover a topic that I believe is one of the cornerstones. It's one of the 4 pillars, so to speak, for business development when you hone it down. You know, years ago, Dawn and I we had launched Pici & Pici, and we were doing really well, and we started looking for a coach. And quite frankly, it wasn't that easy to find. You know, we went to the National Speakers Association convention. We carried our checkbook. We talked to different people. In talking to those people, we actually told a lot of people we were looking to take our business to another level. We were looking for a specific executive coach that had fruit on a tree and could help us. And we got phone numbers and emails, all to find out that no one responded, which was disconcerting. Well, then down the road, I was speaking in Dallas. In the back of the room was a very high-profile executive coach. And so I said to Dawn, I need to contact this man and find out, is he someone that can help us take our business to another level? Well, I picked up the phone. I found his number on a website, and I called him, left a message, and within 3 minutes, I got a return call from his executive secretary saying he was getting on a plane. He certainly wanted to talk to me, and we set up an appointment. Well, that in and of itself, we were going to move forward with this person just because of response time alone. There's a coaching piece in that. If you're slow to respond, you're not going to have a big business. Well, long story short, we paid him. It was more than we had ever paid anyone for any service for one-day executive coaching in his studio in Dallas. Well, we fly in. And we go into his studio. And in his studio, he had about 5 other people. 2 people were projecting everything that we were saying up on the board. And I won't bore you with a lot of the details of our business, but I will never forget what he said. He said, you know, Joe and Dawn, I've seen you both of you. I've seen you speak. I've seen you train. In fact, I am the CEO's executive coach of one of your biggest clients, and you have the highest rating of any outside trainer, consultant, or speaking in all of their company. You're going to get a little bit better, but your execution is great. He said, and you know, Joe, he said, I've been around, he said, but I've not met too many people that can pick up the phone like you, utilize a script, and get an appointment with a decision maker and sell your sales capability. And I'm feeling really good about that. And I think, well, yeah, okay, great. He said, so the rest of your life is going to be spent on brand expansion and lead generation. Now, if you remember in our last episode number 10, as this one is number 11, we talked about prospecting or lead generation as being one of the 4 pillars in the common denominator for success. So I'm going to take you through some ideas. You know, we started out generating leads in just a couple ways, and now we have so many ways of generating leads. And I'm going to give you some tips and coaching points when you decide that you're going to become a professional in the arena of lead generation. We're going to give you some ideas on things that you can do to generate leads. I think the first thing to do is you have to sit down and you have to decide, what product am I going to sell? What is the product I want to sell? And you need to write that down. From there, you need to determine who is the best potential target market. In other words, there's going to be multiple people that want your product and or service, but who would be the most receptive? Who is your initial target market? All right. Now, from there, you want to determine what benefit you provide. What are the benefits, results, and solutions of that product should they buy? From there, you create powerful value propositions. And that is a very intense training in and of itself. I'm not avoiding anything, but this is something that takes hours to go through to get really good value propositions. And once you have your value propositions, once you have all of this in place, then you're ready to go fishing. You're ready to generate leads. So let's look at different ways that people generate leads in the 21st century. One way is traditional advertising. Now, the traditional advertising way can be very costly. Okay, it's things like television, radio, magazine articles. There's just so many ways that you can get the word out. It's in the traditional advertising model, you really have to understand, is that where your target market watches, reads, and different things? This usually costs you money. And my recommendation before you go the traditional route is really learn your target market. Another way is some people buy prospect lists. We here at Pici and Pici do not buy prospect lists. When you're buying a prospect list, the list can be good, the list can be bad. You really have to be diligent. It's going to cost you money. And you have to evaluate, is this a good use of my money? Another way, some people pay call centers. We don't believe that's a good use of our time and money. We don't believe that's a good use of prospects because call centers are usually about $2,000 a seat for a month. There's no guarantees. And so there's nothing wrong with those ways of generating leads. They're just ways of generating leads. The second silo, so to speak, are what we call quality referrals. In other words, start out with the people who know, like, and trust you. And have you ever sat down with them and explained in detail exactly how you serve your client? Or are you expecting them through osmosis to understand? If they don't understand what you do, you're not going to get quality leads. The next part of that, are you getting referrals from your clients? Have you said to your clients after you have delivered quality to them, do you know anyone that would benefit from our product or service the way we've helped you? And so you're looking at, these are referrals, but I would recommend you're only going to get referrals if people truly believe that you can help people they know. And I will say something else about referrals. Be very careful who you refer. You know, I talked about brand. Your brand is all you own. If you refer the wrong person and they don't deliver the way they should, it's going to affect your brand. Dawn and I have been doing this since 1992. We have been growing a brand. We are very protective. As you may know, I'm ranked number 3 in the world by Global Gurus as a sales trainer and speaker. And we spent no money in advertising to do that. I would really not want to risk that on giving a referral of a person that did not deliver what promised. The third silo is affiliates or strategic alliances. What does that mean? Who do you know, like, and trust? Who know, likes, and trusts you that have a different business than you have with the same target market? Does that make sense? For example, one of my clients is a leadership trainer. I don't train leadership. We are a strategic alliance. If I get into a company and I know they need leadership, I will recommend, I will bring him in, and vice versa. But I have ultimate trust in this person. So strategic alliances, okay, are very important. Affiliates are very important. These are people you trust with your client base and vice versa. So make a list. Sit down and make a list of all of the businesses and people you know that may have the same target market as you, and maybe somebody you want to sit down with, explain in detail what you provide for your clients, let them explain, and create a relationship, whether it's for commission or not. Create a relationship whereby they're your first go-to person when you're bringing someone in that provides what they provide, and vice versa. The next silo is what I'm going to call the Dream 100. Now, every year I make a list of companies that I would like to get into. You know, we have some really high-profile clients that one day they were on our Dream 100. In other words, I sit down and I say, okay, I would like to get into that company. I would like to get into that company. I would like to do business with that person. Now, I have a process for client acquisition. The minute that person, that company, whether that makes you nervous or not, whether you get butterflies in your stomach or not when you think about that company, the minute that hits the radar, I kick it into my process. Now, what I have learned, sometimes it's easier to get that Fortune 100, Dream 100, than some small companies because, you know, big companies, although there's more layers and it's going to take you longer to get to the person with the checkbook, their self-esteem sometimes is stronger than a small business person that feels like I don't want to be talked into something. So sit down and make a list of companies and say, wouldn't it be nice if I could work with that company? Wouldn't it be great if I could go in and do work with that company? Get it on a list, make that part of your target, and then apply your sales process. Let's go to the next silo, what I call market education. Now, I'm going to split this up. I'm going to split this up for people not in my industry of speaking, coaching, and training. And then I will talk to this industry because this is two different ways you have to handle this. Market education is when you speak, train, coach for no fee with the intent to bring quality and value so people will buy your product or service. For example, let's say you were selling high-end water treatment systems. Then going in doing health seminars, you wouldn't be getting paid for the health seminar, but you would be adding value to people's lives whereby they'd want to know more about your product. So in that case, there's a couple different places for market education. There's trade shows. If you're going to be in a trade show, I would recommend you don't buy a booth unless 100% of the people in that place are in your target market. Just walk the halls, get to know people, okay? There's lunch and learns. Right now, there are people that have luncheons next week that are dying for a 20 to 30-minute speaker to bring a value-add piece. The next one is speaking engagements. Now, your speaking engagements, again, this is not for your speakers, trainers, and coaches. This is for your no fee. This is for being asked to speak at a chamber of commerce, a BNI, a leads group, a chamber, whatever, coming in to bring a value piece so you can showcase your talent, your skill, bring value, and people want to talk to you about your product or service. And we help people develop those stage presentations in what we call a core story. Now let me address the people who are in the industry of speaking, training, and coaching. And here's where you have to be very careful. Whenever you're dealing with speaking, training, and coaching, you have to be careful not to give too much away. And in the 21st century, like I'm doing right now, I'm giving stuff away. But when you're doing live speaking, training, and coaching, you need to have 3 to 4 pieces that are high value, but are not giving away your core, highest revenue producing products and services for no fee. And I would recommend that if you have any questions about what I covered, send me an email to joe@PICI.com. Put in the tagline, Sales Edge Questions. And then if you want me to privately call you, 407-947-2590, or I can deal with it on another episode. Let's go into another silo. And this is a controversial silo. Most people have such an aversion to the word cold call. I think whenever you pick up the phone calling somebody you don't know, you think, I'm supposed to sell that person. You think, I'm supposed to convince that person. You think I'm supposed to get an appointment with that person. Actually, the cold call is, I believe, one of our highest revenue producing lead generation pieces there are, because I use a value proposition, and that person either opts in or opts out that they want more information or not. So I can sit down and I can make a list, and I can make 40 calls with a great value proposition in a cold market without any idea of making this a revenue, but I'm qualifying them. I am qualifying this lead. So I hope that makes sense to you. I love that. In fact, if I had to pick outside of LinkedIn, and we'll get to LinkedIn in a minute, this is our highest lead generation facet in our entire business, believe it or not. I get more out of this than just about anything we do. As we move forward, and this is going to be a two-part episode. It's going to be 11 and 12, and it's going to be focused on lead generation and prospecting. As we move forward, we're going to get into the phase of networking, power networking. And this is a big topic. Power networking can be with chamber of commerce, leads groups, association, anywhere there's a gathering of people whereby you're there with the intent to generate leads for business. And I think a lot of times people mistake this. Now, always have intent. Everything Joe Pici does has specific intent. And so with that, if I'm going to a networking meeting, I'm really not going for any other reason than to generate leads. I'm very honest about it. I'm not transactional. I'm not there peddling. I'm not there to sell. But I believe it's very important that when you look at places you're going to associate, when you look at networking events, is your target market in the room? Do they know people in your target market? So let me recap this, and then episode number 12 will have additional lead generation. As you know, this is the Sales Edge. This is episode number 11. Should you have any questions, please email me at joe@PICI.com. Put in the tagline, Sales Edge. Our sponsor right now is Pici and Pici. And, of course, I'm Joe Pici, and we're excited about this podcast. We're getting great response already. We just kicked it off. This is only episode number 11, and we're already getting questions that we're going to be fielding and answering. But make sure if you send me a question, please designate, do you want this question answered on the air, and I will not mention your name unless you want me to, or would you like Joe to call you? You know, you are allowed to call Joe at 407-947-2590, and I call that a complimentary cup of Joe. And so as we start to wind this thing down, you know, our focus here, we continue to want to help you gain a fair advantage over your competition. Get in front of your target market. Define your target market. Book quality meetings. Have quality presentation skills so you can increase closing ratios. It's consistent. Don't forget, we're dealing with the 4 pillars of sales success right now, which is lead generation, phone calls to book appointments, quality sales presentations, and priority and time management. We're going to wrap this up now. Episode number 12 will be the second half of lead generation, and we'll see you at our next episode. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Pici and Pici Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.piciandpici.com. Spelled P-I-C-I-A-N-D, P-I-C-I.com.